We'll build this together, any type of weather. Unity is key. Keeping first G-O-D. We will conquer the world. Baby, just you and me. I can vision us now. One big happy family.
I love how you look at me like that. Anyway, um, so we're talking about autism and our journey. Um, I may or may not have gotten emotional.
Oh no, we'll see.
We'll see if I got emotional. Um, so when all this was going on, like when Lillian was diagnosed, Layla was diagnosed, and Lonnie Daniel was diagnosed, what were you thinking? How are you feeling?
Um, it was a lot of stuff. So let's try to unpack it. Well, when you first told me that something was wrong with Lillian, I really didn't understand until the Katie story happened. Then when you came back to me with the diagnosis, I was like, autism. They can't have autism because I had an idea what autism looked like. I saw the children in the wheelchairs and stuff like that. That was children with autism. So I had never experienced autism the way that it showed up for us.
Mhm.
So I had to figure that out. And so some of that, I guess the first thing is not wanting to accept and believe.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So I think initially with the diagnosis, even with all three,
Mhm.
once all three of them were done, especially LJ, when they was like LJ, I was like LJ, like this dude walking, talking, cartwheel. What they talking about? Because I didn't understand that it's not necessarily words. It's the things that we know that he's dealing with today,
Right.
that we know now that we didn't know then. So I think the first step was I didn't believe. I was just
Yeah.
like, these doctors saying this. It'll get better as they get older.
Yes. That was
Uh,
something that you said. Yeah.
it'll get better when we get older. Not understanding that what I'm saying that's gonna get better, that is the autism isn't. If that makes any sense. And so let me explain
Yeah.
that. What I'm meaning is, as Lillian gets older, she's gonna learn more words and she's gonna speak. But I'm not thinking uh, is she speaking on that level?
Mhm.
So the example I'll give when I moved to Texas, fifth grade, I wasn't reading on the fifth grade level. I was reading on the second. I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking, oh, they're below level now, but they'll get caught up, not understanding really what autism is. But as we continue to go through this, I am going through it. The best way I can say this is in small doses
Yes.
because I'm working. I'm not dealing with it every day. I'm only dealing with it when I'm home, which is 3 months out the year, spread throughout 12 months.
Right.
So that means I may be dealing with it for a 4 day weekend in
Mhm.
1 month.
Mhm.
That's not really dealing with it because I'm coming home, I'm seeing the kids, I'm playing with her, and then I'm spending time with you, and then I'm back home.
Mhm.
Um, really not dealing with it for real, until LJ is born. Because if you remember, when LJ was born, I was off a whole year
Mhm.
that year. And so now I'm getting a better understanding of what's really going on with them. So the first thing is when something happens to your child, you're always thinking inward. So I'm always like, what did I do? What did I do that this happened to my child? Um, and what I mean is on a real level, like, is the Lord punishing me for previous bad behavior? Um, is this a curse that's being passed down through my family? This is my fault, and because of something I did, these are the consequences. It's almost like then this story just came to me. The story in the Bible when I think what the disciples asked Jesus, what did this man do
Mhm.
that he's been cursed? And the Lord said he didn't do anything for this. He did this because I was coming to show the people that I could heal them.
For my glory. Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
So it wasn't his parents did something or his
Right.
grandparents. And so of course you go with that. And then I see that this is heavy on you. Um and it's something that I can't I couldn't take the burden off. Um Even as I grew in understanding and having a better understanding of what's happening, um I still it was something I couldn't take off of you, a weight, and that bothered me so much because it's almost like you see someone that needs help, you want to help them, but you're not equipped to help them in that manner. And even if you could, they wouldn't allow you to help. I think you were consumed with it, and I couldn't help you in the proper way because I didn't have the proper understanding.
Mhm.
I remember we were having a conversation. I think LJ was about 5, and I was like, "Babe, it just seemed like this autism thing with LJ, it's getting worse as he's getting older."
This autism thing.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
autism thing,
Ugh.
um, it's getting worse, almost like a disease.
Mhm.
And I think you was like, well, babe, what you have to understand is as he's getting older, we're now realizing triggers that's been triggered the whole time. It's just that he can
Articulate
communicate
it.
it to
Yes.
us that,
Yes.
hey, this is bothering me when this happened, when he couldn't before. Just like we had the incident when he started school, and it just so happened that where he started school, the teacher he had, she was pregnant. And when he got triggered with one of his triggers and one of his triggers, he would run out the class.
Right.
Well, she couldn't catch him. And I mean, he's aggressively running out. So this isn't, he's running like the place is on fire out of the classroom. And then one day we got the call. He ran not only out of the class, he ran out the doors, out into the parking lot.
Right.
And so at that point, it was a concern for us because we were like, okay, like he need a new teacher because this teacher can't catch him. Like what we got to do because we can't have him running out of the school because it's a main road out there.
That's right.
So we pulled him out of school because we talked to the teacher and they're like, well, we're gonna figure out something. So y'all just keep him home until we figure it out. 1 week go by, 2 weeks go by. And I'm like, have you heard from the school? You like, no. I was like, well, let me go up there. And so I go up there and I'm like, hey, y'all said 2 weeks. Y'all said y'all gonna give it a couple of days. It's been 2 weeks. But essentially what they were trying to do was let the school year in.
Yeah. Because if we give more backstory, with Lonnie Daniel, he had the most outwardly triggers and emotional triggers than his sisters. And so when his sisters started school, not early intervention, but actual elementary school, they were able to cope in a different way than he was. And Lonnie Daniel was he still is very emotional. He's so empathetic. And so I think because he's so empathetic, he feels a lot. And he was having an extremely hard time coping with being in an environment that he didn't feel safe in and where he was not understood in. And so every single day that he was at school, I was either getting a phone call or an email that I would have to intervene on his behalf because he was having such a difficult day. And so it going on the whole school year. He wasn't having that issue with Miss Rachel because Miss Rachel was a bomb. But in this setting, they did not have it's set up for this our special needs kids. It was just a regular classroom, and he didn't have any intervention. And so the school year went on where he was going through a lot, and it got too close to the end of the school year. Another incident happened. It wasn't that particular incident, But another incident happened, and we were like, okay, we're pulling him out because we didn't
No.
feel like he was absolutely miserable. He was suffering. And so we had to intervene in that way.
Okay. So I thought the running out was the one, but
Mm-mm.
anyway, so we went back and we told him like, what are y'all gonna do? Like it's 3 weeks left of school. He's been out 2 weeks. Like what we're gonna do? And then that's when they introduced that there
Yeah.
was another alternative school that he could go to for the next school year.
Yes.
They were gonna let him come back for the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks, and then he could go to this other school. Now the issue I had with the other school is I knew where that school was. I knew the type of families and people who were over there at the school because I was familiar with that area because I lived over there and I didn't want him to be exposed to the things that he would be exposed to at that school. And so me and Latoya had a conversation about it and she was like, I really think he needs to go to that school because that's where the program is
Yeah.
for autism. They had the program over there, and I did not
He was
want
not,
him to go to
and I
that
didn't
school.
either. I did not want him to go to that school. I was so used to being available to go up to see him when he needed my help. The new school was 20-25 minutes away. Um, and he wouldn't be there with his sisters. He was going to be separated from his sisters. But I had been dealing with all of the school year issues. Lonnie was out of town. And so I was the one who had to suffer along with my son because when your child is suffering, you suffer. And I've been praying and praying and praying for something else for him, some help for him. And when they said that they were going to call an emergency ARD, I was like, okay, because they said they were going to have a solution for him being able to go to school. So went into the ARD, and in the ARD, I described how the ARDs are. This art was different because I was used to seeing the same people in the ARDs. This time there was another person in there who I had not seen before. And I was kind of like, okay, who is this? We sat down and her name was Rakina. And she started to talk about a program that was specifically for children with autism, and it was called Making Connections. And it was a program that didn't wasn't offered at the school that was his home school, but was offered at a different school. Um, and she described what Making Connections would be and how it would benefit Lonnie. And I immediately started to cry because it was everything I had prayed for. It was everything that I knew that he needed in order to succeed in life. And it was going to give him a level of hope that I had been praying for. And so when I told Lonnie, big Lonnie though, he was like, "Nope, I don't want to go." And I was like, "No, he has
So
to go."
my major concern was why he have to go there for them to help. If it's by law, the school's supposed to accommodate why he has to go over there. And I didn't want her to go over there because I knew where that was. And then also the drive. So she has to get up, drop the girls off. I think it was drop the girls off first, rush him over to there. Then she has to get him, rush back and get the girls late. And this is every day. This is Monday through Friday. I'm still gone. So she's not doing this with by her she's doing this by herself. And it was a lot. And so I didn't so all of that to me was like no. And I think at some point I just was like if that's what you want to do, then that's fine. And so he went over there and that worked out really really well. But let me
Yeah.
get to the I guess the meat of how um I felt like I was a failure.
Mm.
Um, I felt like I failed you. Um,
In what way?
because I I'm responsible for you having these children, and I'm responsible for their autism. I wanted to take
Mm.
responsibility for that.
Mhm.
And so to me, all the odds, all the heartbreak that you just described, all the pain and the anguish of that you took on because I wasn't present. I mean, I wasn't present. And to say that is, it was almost like a absentee father. So that means you're taking it on, and then when I'm the few days I'm home, you are you putting your best foot forward. But I understand now when I left, it was like chaos and you had no one to lean on really. I don't even think you wanted to burden me with that when I was out of town. And then with my lack of knowledge and
Mhm.
understanding of really what you were going through,
Yeah.
you were like, I don't even trust you with these emotions because you're gonna be like, babe, just do it. What's the big deal? I don't
Right.
even think you would trust me enough to that. So I understand, of course, now the weight that you were carrying. And but the best way I could say this, I didn't have the capacity to even have compassion for that because
Mm.
I was, dude, you got to feed them.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like you was like, well, we gotta get this done, period. And like you gotta get this work done because you gotta feed these people. Autism, all that stuff not gonna matter if you're out in these streets.
Right.
You don't have nowhere to live.
Right.
Um, and so you said before, like sometimes I was night and day. Home, I was one way, and on the road, I was another way. And you understood. Like I used to tell you, I would get to wherever I was, and I'd be like, 24 days, I'm gonna be back this day. Focusing on coming back home, but not necessarily being a soft place for you with this because I didn't understand it.
Right. Once you got home, for sure, as
Right.
well.
So I really didn't understand what was going on. So you were carrying this. I would say you were carrying this by yourself until I got off the road,
Yeah.
which that was just 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So that means 15, 13, and 11 that you were carrying this because I wasn't available until I became available.
Yeah.
And then, of course, now I understand on a whole nother level. I think that you trust me to help you carry this now because I understand what we're dealing with, and I
Right.
understand that it's a moving target.
Yes.
So that it's not going to be um, it can today is A and today A worked. That was a great one. But tomorrow that same situation, you might have to be that.
B or C or D.
Right. So I think, like I said, our children, they're wonderful, smart, intelligent children, but they all three are very different.
Yes.
All three have autism, but it's very, very, they're complex.
That's right. That's a good word.
You are very good at discerning an answer and a fake answer.
Yeah.
Uh, you are very good at sitting them down like, no, what's that? What is that? Because they'll be like, it's fine. And you'll be like, Layla, no, that this fine isn't fine. What is that? And even LJ, he gets frustrated sometimes when he's trying to process something and he'll be like, you know what, never mind. It's like, no, we need you to work through that so you be able to communicate that. And that's not just for us, that's just for life.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, but I think it was a lot of guilt that I carried
Mm.
just from not being there and not understanding. Um, Never was ashamed though, which is I feel like it's really good. I never was ashamed. Just a lot of guilt that I basically y'all were abandoned when I was gone,
Mm.
and I don't know. I really, if I speak to it for real, I basically y'all were abandoned until 6 years ago.
Yeah.
You were a single mom with with a husband who provided.
Yes.
So almost like I was paying child support. I had somewhere, y'all had somewhere to live. I ate. I came and visited y'all for those years, and then until I got off the road, then I was really present. And so a lot of that hurt and pain, like some of this stuff that I heard today, it's my first time hearing it in this capacity. Uh, but I know that we talked about this before, the guilt that I felt leaving y'all anyway. I left, I feel like I feel like I left you unprotected and uncovered when I was gone because you didn't have any help. And so it's a lot of things that you had to power through that if I would have been present, we could have done it together. But just like Miss Rachel, you have Miss Rachel experience. I don't have that. I know Miss Rachel, of course, but not on the level that you have.
Yeah.
Now, now since I've been home, like our son's in high school now, we got Mr. Loesher, his teacher, and making
Main
connection. And
connection.
I kind of like snatched that from you. I'm
Yes.
like,
Thank you, Father.
got off the road, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take the reins on this. And so he's like my Miss Rachel.
Yes. I wanted to go back and do a follow up, and then I have a question. And so the follow up is that you said that you were basically a, an absentee dad, and I was like a single mom, and you would come in and visit. But um, you were so much more than that. Your presence wasn't there, but your love was. And I knew that if I were to say, I need you to come home right now, you would have dropped everything and came home. And so I understood that you had to work. I understood we had to eat and have food and clothes. And that was part of our journey. But I don't ever want you to feel like you were equated to one of the men who are not present in their children's lives, because you were present in the capacity that you could be when you were there.
No, I understand that, but I'm just telling you how I felt. Because sometimes I'm like, I mean, you could have done something else. Just like the job I have now, it's like I could have found something. And we know the Lord has plans and
That's
things
right.
happen
That's
how they're
right.
supposed to happen. But the guilt and the feeling of leaving, just like I know we told the story about, 2 days after Lillian was born, I got sent to Virginia, and we almost was that job was almost over then. Just sometimes it's just like, man, it was a long time.
It was a very long time, and I'm
I
so glad.
mean,
And I'm so thankful that once you did come home, got off the road, came home. You took the reins, and it was a moment where I understood that our son was getting older, and it was in particular our son, that you took the reins of manning him. Like, I got the boy. I'ma handle whatever it was that would come up, school issues with the teachers, homework, whatever. You took it on, and I don't even really remember last time I really had to talk to Mr. Lucier, when all the other times I had to be in contact with
all the people.
multiple teachers
Right.
at once. And you and Mr. Lucier and Lonnie Daniel, y'all do y'all saying, I get to chill out and not worry about it. And it's such a relief. And I'm so thankful for you understanding that it was your turn. It's like I passed the baton, and you didn't drop it. You took it and you took on the responsibility of it, and you're thriving. And I'm so thankful for that. And our son is thriving. And so, but I had a question. You said that um, you didn't fully understand what was going on and how you felt in that time frame of not understanding. And so once you came to the realization of what autism was and what it was in particular for each of your children, how did that change your thoughts and your perspective and your actions?
So when I don't understand, I don't think you can respect it enough or have the appropriate amount of compassion for something.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're saying that they have autism and I'm not understanding what that is, and it's not, how can I say this? It's not the same as if somebody was like, I'm just going to use this. Somebody has the flu. So somebody's like, hey, I got the flu. So you pretty sure they snotty, they coughing a lot, they laid in the bed, they running hot, they running cold. But with autism, it wasn't clear because, of course, when you
Mm-hmm.
find out that somebody
Mm-hmm.
has something, the first thing is like, what do I do? How can I help? How can I do this when it's a moving target? So that's one thing. I didn't understand that it's a moving target. So I would assume, well, if that worked for Lillian, why didn't it work for Layla? Why
Yeah.
didn't it work for LJ? Like,
Yes.
what are we doing? Why?
Yeah.
Why we over here? We giving her a hula hoop, and they getting a lollipop. And,
Yeah.
and then so understanding that it's not
One
one
size
size fit
fits
all.
all. Yeah.
So it took me a while to understand that because I'm like, so for example, Lillian, our oldest, LJ, our youngest. Lillian will sit, laugh, cut up with us all day. We laughing together. LJ don't like laughter. I'm like, I don't understand. They both have autism. Why why does Lillian and Layla, us busting out laughing and joking, doesn't bother them, but with LJ, it does bother him.
Extremely.
Right. Where, we don't watch shows with laugh tracks when he's around and all these different accommodations. But then we could be having a conversation with LJ and we're laughing together and he's fine. And it's like, what? Wait, like you busting a joke, you laugh, we laugh, you're good. But if we're downstairs and we watch something on TV and it's funny, we start laughing, and if we laugh too much, he'll come downstairs and be like, hey, can y'all quit laughing so much? And it's just understanding the dynamic of that. So it took me a while to understand that this was a moving target. And it's not a moving target because he wants it to move. It's a moving target because he can articulate what the move is. It's a target, but we just haven't been exposed to it yet. I don't remember when we realized that laugh track bothered him.
I remember um, the first indication that that was an issue. And he was an infant in his car seat. I was sitting outside of the school waiting for Miss Rachel to open the door so I can get the girls out to go in. And I had Magic 102 in the morning on. And they had, I think at that time, maybe Steve Harvey, maybe not Steve Harvey. I don't know who was the main person who was like the person who was the disc jockey that was the funny person. And then, they had all the other collaborators sitting around. They were talking about something silly. And they were just laughing and kikiing and going back and forth. And Lonnie Daniels started screaming and crying. And I was like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I got out of the car. I walked around to the back. I looked at him to make sure there was nothing wrong because the way that he was screaming was like maybe his arm got caught or his skin was being pinched in the car seat or something. And I checked him and he was fine. And so he just kept screaming and crying. And then I turned down the radio and I leaned over to look at him again and he stopped crying. And I was like,
So that's
okay.
at that
And
age.
then I turned the radio back on because he calmed down and he started screaming and crying again. And so then I turned the radio down and I thought, is he crying because of this? And he was crying because
They were in there
of the
cracking jokes.
laughter and the back and forth and all that. And he was an infant. He was in a rear facing car seat. Not even a front facing car seat. That's how young he was.
So, and so once I realized that the magnitude of what we're dealing with, just if it was one,
Yeah.
now it's three.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was overwhelming, and I don't think I've ever spoke to the pain and hurt that I felt. Like you just expressed your pain and the emotions you went through. I didn't even feel like I was the best way that I can say this. I didn't feel that I could express my pain in that way because it's go time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Right.
Yeah, there's no time to sit here and sit in a pile of tears about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of doing what you can so that your children can have the best life that they can have. And what that looked like, I don't know, but I know that whatever you felt like needed to be done, speech therapy, whatever, it was going to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that you knew more about it than me, so I let you take the lead. But I could never speak to the pain of me not being there with the initial diagnosis, missing that call because I was supposed to take that call. I mean, I really think if I really thought it was as serious as you thought it was, I would have been at the appointments.
Mm.
So that tells you how I didn't understand. So after the first diagnosis with Lillian, why wouldn't I be at the second one? I wasn't at the second one because I still didn't get it. I still didn't get it. Um, and then when you have three, then I'm like, And then as I started immersing myself that year after I was off for a year, I think I had a better understanding, and I was like, "Oh, this is serious."
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then as they get older, and I'm realizing that this is not going to be a grow out of it situation. This isn't a knucklehead teenager, and then
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be for life.
Right.
Um, LJ is not going to like laugh track for his life. He's going to want certain things. He's going to do certain things, and certain things are going to trigger him for life. This is their life. And so when you look at it from that aspect, it's tough because what does that mean? What does that look like? And we're venturing into the beginnings of that as we
Yes.
got a 21-year-old, we got a 19-year-old who graduated from culinary arts on the 20th. LJ is a senior in high school. So we've gotten through the school part,
And now we're entering
and now
into
we're
the
entering into
new
what kind
phase.
of adult quality life that they're going to have
Exactly.
and how are we going to set them up for success. Are they going to date? Are they going to get married? Are they going to have children? All of this stuff.
Are they gonna find love? Are they gonna have a loving relationship with someone? Like, eh, it's just a whole nother level of when they're babies and children and younger. It's almost like you have those things to worry about. Those things that affect children at that age to worry about. But then when they get older and they become young adults and a whole nother slew of things that you concern yourself about and think about and wonder about and try to give to God constantly because it's just a big question mark.
It's so, man, it's so much in that. Are they going to live with us their whole lives? Um, the fear of, and we've already had an incident of the ignorance of other people,
And being taken advantage of. That's
uh,
happened
interviewing for a
several
job,
times, yes.
getting asked something dumb, um, you you being misunderstood as they start branching out and interacting with other people who are not our family. They have to deal with the ignorant people. They got to deal with the mean people. They got to deal with the reckless people. And that's something that we can't protect them from if they're in the world. When they're at our house, we pretty much know what it is. But now they're going to have to interact with other people. and then we have to deal with the conversations that we gotta have, speaking to people's ignorance or misbehavior.
and people taking advantage. And that was something that happened recently to our middle daughter, who had an interview, and that was it was not good. And so thankfully she is actually at work right now. She has a job,
Yeah,
and she is passionate about pastry. She's been, ever since she was 8, she was in the kitchen with me watching me bake. And eventually I just helped her, and then she started to really learn how to do it on her own. And eventually I said, okay, Layla, if you want to make something, you go in there and I'll help you figure out what ingredients you need, and we'll put it in the basket, and then we'll get it delivered. And so she has an absolute passion for baking, and now she's about to graduate as a pastry chef. Um, and Lillian, she graduated from high school. We attempted to enroll her where she was enrolled in Lone Star, but we quickly understood that she was not on college level. And so she is not at Lone Star anymore. She is doing online classes and different things. She hasn't figured out exactly what it is that she has passion for. But something that did happen recently is she and Layla, our pastry chef, they've started their own business. Layla is baking treats, and Lillian is supporting her. Layla has a hard time with organization and cleanliness and things of that nature. And Lillian's strength is being organized and being clean and being rigid in that way. And so they combine their strengths, and now they have a a business called Rainbow Sweets. And it's called Rainbow Sweets because Layla's nickname is Rainbow and Lillian's nickname is Sweets. And so I thought it would work, Rainbow Sweets, because it's kind of like treats, sweets, or treats. And so, and brother, like Daniel, he has a passion ever since he was 3. Actually, at 3, he started playing video games, and not just playing it like a 3-year-old. He was playing it and beating grown people playing video games at 3. And that's been his passion ever since then. And he is going to graduate and be a video game designer.
yeah, we're gonna find a school that he can do the video game design.
Yeah.
So it's been a interesting ride. When we're still on it, it's here. We persevered. They're thriving, and they're gonna be in good shape. Um, in the next few weeks, we're gonna have them on so you can meet all of them.
Yeah, so we're going to bribe them to come on to the
I'm not bribing
podcast
them. I've been paying for them all my life, so they coming
all day
on. So
life.
he said so all my life too. I was paying before they was here. We're gonna have them on as part of our autism awareness. Um,
Episodes.
so
And we're going to have Miss Rachel come on. She's going to come on, talk to her. I'm excited about that. Y'all get to meet Miss Rachel.
so we appreciate y'all listening to us talk about and watching us. Well, my wife cry.
Yes,
Um,
just fast forward through those parts, y'all.
um,
Let's fast forward.
but we have more in store. We appreciate y'all watching Way of the Walkers. Hope
Yes.
y'all are impacted by what we shared in our journey with our children and the diagnosis of their having autism. You got anything else to say, babe?
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Don't forget to click the link and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah. Later.